we'd be happy to respond to your questions.
Mayor Barnes, can you tell me a little more about this out-of-state billionaire you keep referring to?
I'm not an expert on out-of-state billionaires, but I'm sure there's someone here who can respond with a little bit more background.
Well, just so we're clear, is St. Louis out of state? I mean, he lives in St. Louis. That's not really out of state unless something has happened that I'm not aware of.
And I would say my answer to that would be our concern is it's out state. And so not particularly out of state, but out state. People in Diamond, Missouri, or Lebanon, Cape Girardeau, and all those are great places. I've been to a lot of them myself. But they're out. They're not here in Kansas City, and actually they're not in St. Louis. And so, and when we say out of state, Rex Sinquefield made his billions out of the state of Missouri and moved back to the St. Louis area to do whatever he wants to do. And one of these things that we see would be so detrimental to our, not only to the city of Kansas City, but to the Metroplex. I mean, as the mayor stated, a lot of amenities that are inside of Kansas City, the whole area enjoys and look forward to. And without, if he gets what he wants, then those things could very possibly go away.
Sure, what is wrong with simply putting an issue on a ballot? I mean, is there that much concern? And wait till your brothers get stopped.
Those are some good guys too.
Well, if they were that good, they wouldn't be talking over.
They're doing their job.
What is the concern about even letting people vote on this? Are you that afraid?
Well, no, it's not that. Mike. What it is that our concern is, one of the things is the tax. I mean, the way, my understanding of how this would work is, if people outside of Kansas City get to decide what goes on in Kansas City, that's problematic in itself. But more importantly, the way they've set this up is every 5 years we will be looking at trying to renew this tax. And as you know, these cost dollars. It's not like we just get to go show up and start voting. I mean, there's $200,000 or $300,000 that would have to be initially put out. You have to have the polls set up. You have to have the poll workers. You have to have the judges. You have to have the people that do the counting and things like that. So it's not, and as you know, it's not as simple as it seems.
But it does strike a little bit. I've had a couple of friends of mine that I think know what's going on, saying, you know, this is not cool not to urge people not to even put an issue on a ballot.
I would disagree with that. I think there are times when there is something that is suggested that is so against what is important for a city, in this case, that it is obligatory on the part of city leaders to say to the citizens, let's join together, let's say no to outsiders coming in trying to sell something that would be so detrimental. To me, there is nothing wrong with that. That's the right thing to do.
Do you not trust the voters of Kansas City to decide this for themselves?
I've had the very opposite question. I've had voters ask
Come on
me.
down.
I've had voters ask me how we as a council can allow this to happen. Just explaining the process, the petition process, is people don't understand how that happens. And they've said, how did we let this happen? How can we created the situation where we have to fight back for our revenue source? So it's a whole education plan. And I don't think the voters see it as, they don't, a lot of them don't even understand the petition process. So explaining the petition process of how anybody, no matter who they are, has the right in this state to go get petitions to put anything they want on the ballot. And so that alone has just been an education process to my constituents who wanted to know how they think that we've allowed this to happen. So there is a huge education process that needs to go on from the beginning of how you put a petition process on the ballot and understanding the implications of that.
Cindy, you don't think that voters in Kansas City understand the petition process in the era of Clay Chastain?
I can tell you that I have had that question more than once posed to me, and that is an example that I've used. We've been able to take things on the back of a napkin and write down a plan and put it on the ballot and then say, okay, taxpayers, find a way to pay for it. And when we don't fight back on those things, that there's not been a cohesive plan put together, then we have to react on the backside. And I don't think it's wise for us to react to 42% of our budget being slashed.
Can I, Jan or Deb, there was a lot of talk about the $200 million you would lose. First of all, it's over 10 years, so that's $20 million a year. But beyond that, yeah,
I'm not
over
sure
10
that
years.
there's several different petitions out there.
No, but there's only one that's being circulated. One. And it's the one that does it over 10 years. But apart from that, you know as well as anyone that the city is going to spend $100 million this year in providing tax breaks for developers, for TIFs and other things that is not coming to the Treasury. How can you defend the $200 million but not the $100 million that's already been spent?
I would love to have that conversation with you and be able to ahead of time have the information, because 90% of that $100 million we're putting out has to come in first.
But it goes right back out. It can't be
But it
spent
comes
on
in
sidewalks
first.
and police and
if
fire.
this petition said we're going to give you $190 million and take back 200, I think that maybe that'd be something. I think the reason we're involved because of the dire situation this would put the city in. It is 42% of our budget. 55% of these dollars come from outside Kansas City. Much of that from out of the state. You may say that's not fair. However, Kansas City is the only city with the responsibility within our budget to have a regional jail, to have a regional police academy, to have Liberty Memorial, the zoo. Only city, I believe, in the metro area with indigent health care in our budget. Now, for all of us to be involved, I do believe in the petition process, but I believe people before they go sign need to be fully informed. And many of these people that are being haunted right now by this and have the people in their neighborhoods and at the library and at the grocery store are in those neighborhoods that need us the most. Of course, everyone hates taxes, so it's an easy thing to, don't you hate taxes? We all hate taxes. But I think we all know that to have even the most minimal amount of basic services, we have got to be able to pay for it. This